Hello, friends and families. Welcome to the Educa DPS podcast. My name is Javier Ibarra, Senior Manager of Media and Public Relations for Denver Public Schools. Our guest today is Zulma Oronia. Today, our topic is going to be the changes to Medicaid and Medicaid benefits for our DPS families. Zulma, welcome to the Educa DPS podcast. How are you today?
Thank you, Javier. I'm doing very well. I'm very happy and excited to be here, so thanks for having me.
We're excited to have you here. Zulma, I know that you're very passionate about what you do. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what is the most fulfilling part of the work that you do with us here at DPS?
Yeah, sure. So I have been in the Medicaid department for close to 9 years now, and I can say that the most gratifying thing or fulfilling part of my job is that I get to meet wonderful people every day, and not
Like
to
families?
right the
Yes.
families and just knowing that you're contributing to help them out in some way is just very rewarding to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've said this a couple times on this podcast before, but there's a school district out there that asks their employees, what do you do to help children graduate? And so they ask, like, the sports facility. He says, I make sure that this field is really kept up so that the students have a great experience playing sports in high school, and that's how they helps the students graduate. So that's kind of the same thing with you. You are helping people receive their benefits, and you know, health benefits is a very important subject. So I'm going to say thank you for that.
Oh, sure.
Zulma, I want to ask, the first thing that I want to ask a little bit more about is your role specifically here at DPS.
Okay, so I am an outreach and enrollment specialist,
Okay.
and what I do is help individuals and families that need to apply for Medicaid and CHP Plus specifically.
Okay, well, I'm glad you mentioned that because my next question is, what is Medicaid and what is CHP Plus?
Okay, so Medicaid, which is also known as Health First Colorado now, and CHP Plus is Child Health Plan Plus. Basically, just to give you the meaning of that. But what they are is basically two programs offered by the state of Colorado for those in need of health insurance.
So it's a great benefit that we live in this state.
Yep, that's right.
Can you choose between Medicaid and CHP Plus? Can you double up?
So no, you were not able to pick between the two because each one is a different program, and so each one has their own income limits as well as other requirements. Just to mention a few, it would be age, they would consider age, and also the family size.
Now, who can receive these services? Can anyone receive these services?
So if you are a U.S. citizen, you can apply at any time throughout the year because there are no enrollment periods. If you are an adult and you have a legal permanent residency, you will need to wait 5 years after having received your residency or your green card. Fortunately, that does not apply for children. So if a child gets his legal permanent status, they can apply almost immediately. And then we also have what we call the emergency Medicaid, but this is targeted or specifically for life-threatening situations for individuals, and also if you are a woman, a pregnant woman that does not have a citizenship or a legal permanent status.
So it varies from situation to situation. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I find out if I qualify for either one?
Okay, so the first call that you make to us, we sort of ask you some screening questions to just give you an idea of, if you are eligible or not. And after that, after we send in the complete application, it's going to be totally up to Human Services to determine if you're eligible or not.
So we talked about what they are. We talked about how I could find out, but where can I go to request the services? the actual services.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we normally come to you, or we go to the client once we
Oh,
receive the
wow.
call. We are mobile, so we are able to meet at a Denver Public School if the family has a child
Mhm.
that attends the school. If
Mhm.
not, we could always arrange to meet at a local public place. So in other words, we make it easy for
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
As I understand it, there's also maybe a phone number and an email address.
Yes, that number is 720-423-3661, or they can write to us at outreach@dpsk12.org.
Oh, fantastic. So, what are some of the requirements to request these services?
So it's a lot of requirements because, like I said, each program is different, but mainly they are looking at your income, your family size, and age, as well as, citizenship or legal permanent residency.
Suma, I know that a lot has changed with Medicaid and CHP Plus and the benefits, and I know a lot of that has to do with the new transition from the pandemic. My next question to you is, what are these changes that have been in relation to Medicaid this year specifically?
As you may know, the public health emergency ended just recently this month. And so the changes that are happening now, or that began happening, were beginning March. DHS was sending out to all the members a packet, which is called a redetermination packet. And basically what it is just the packet that they have to review and complete to determine if they're still eligible.
I know that when it comes to these types of services, sometimes there might be a few barriers that families and individuals might face. My next question to you, going along with that, is will I have to pay to request these services?
Oh, no, absolutely not. There's no charge for requesting these types of services at all.
So it's completely free?
It's completely free.
Okay, that's fantastic to know, and let our families know that you can request these services completely free, and they will come to you or to a DPS school to meet you where you are at. How long does the application process typically take once you've applied? Can you kind of walk me through what it looks like after that?
Yeah, sure. So after we help them complete the application itself, we gather any supporting documents that they may have so that we can consider that a complete application. Once it is received by DHS, normally it's 30 to 45 days.
And DHS is?
Denver Human Services.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you. There's a lot of acronyms
Right.
out there. Suma, can you give us a final message to our families or our community who are either watching the show or listening to the show?
Yeah, so just be on the lookout for that packet. And as always, if you need help with completing it or you have any questions about it, feel free to give us a call at the number 720-423-3661.
That's fantastic. Suma, before I let you go, I had a follow-up question, if I may. So, and it has to do with timeline, right? Let's say, is there a hard deadline for all of this? Is there a hard deadline, like I have to complete the application by May 1st, for example? Is that something, or does it vary? What does that look like?
Yes, it does vary. It's different from member to member. So it does have a
deadline?
A deadline.
Yes.
So it does have that, but like I said, it's tailored to each person. It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's important for our families to be on the lookout for that packet. I assume they also might email them through Colorado Peak or something like that. They might get a message and saying, "Hey, it's time to renew your benefits," that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's those two different ways that they can communicate and let you know about the deadline. So it would be either by mail or if you are one of those that have your account online and you manage your account online, then yes, you can see that message on there as well.
Suma, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing with us and with our families this important change in Medicaid and some of the steps in order to receive this benefit. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that concludes our Educa DPS podcast for today. I want to ask you all to please help us share this content with families, friends, and other community members. And it might not be that beneficial to you, but it might be beneficial for them. So for more Educa content and other stories, please visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Denver Public Schools Plus. I want to give credit where credit is due and everyone who helps make the DPS Multimedia Productions, starting off with our Executive Director of Communications, Will Jones, our Director of External Communications, Scott Pribble, our Director of Internal Communications, Selena Nakamura, our Executive Producer and Videographer of this show and all the others, Don Pierce, our multimedia lead producer and host of the Spanish Educa, Beto Gaitan, our guru of social media, Hannah Young, our bond and mill levy communications specialist, Georgia Alexander, our strategic communication specialist, Trey Hill, our graphic designer who designs our logos and everything else, April Spites, and a special shout out to our DPS educators, students, and parents. A big thank you to Dr. Alex Marrero, proud superintendent of Denver Public Schools, for supporting Educa and all other platforms. This has been yours truly, Javier Ibarra, Senior Manager of Media and Public Relations, as well as the Educa host in English. Please remember to tell your children more often, I believe in you and I know you can do it. Until next time.